Hello and welcome. The UFC is making its way back to London, England for UFC 286 between Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman for the third time, with Leon's first defense of the belt and Usman trying to reclaim the gold. Also, as co-main event, we have Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. Should be a barn burner of a match with two high-power strikers who don't really like to wrestle too much, let's be real. As always, I'm Casey, and joined with me is...
Taylor.
Excellent. Taylor, how you doing this week?
Man, I am stoked for this main card especially. I mean, there's some fun fights on the lower card. I didn't put any bets on them. But 4 out of 5 of the fights on this main card are really exciting. I'm excited to see them.
Completely agree. I think this is going to be a good card. I think even there's a women's fight on there that should be pretty competitive and fun to watch. But have you consumed any of the media content they've put out this week already?
I've consumed pretty minimal media content about 286 specifically. There's a lot of other MMA media content going on right now that I'm having fun with. But as far as the main card goes, no, I've been kind of... I don't think I even watched the countdown or whatever this week.
Fair enough. There have been some decent highlights. What's kind of fun watching is Leon Edwards seems a lot more confident this time around, a lot more character going on. It might just be because he's in the home country and he likes playing to the favorite crowd, but where in any of the events that you see, like, the people are just going absolutely wild. It's a lot of fun to watch. And there's even a surprise villain that shows up at some point.
Yeah, he's much beloved. He's certainly trying to bring it home in the hometown. It almost feels like, I don't know, it feels like the same as the first one. It almost feels like we're waiting to find out who the real champ is. It doesn't necessarily feel like he's the champion defending the belt to me. I don't know why. It feels like he's still got something to prove, you know?
No, that's completely understandable.
We'll see if he can.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's get into it then. Fantasy Fight League rules: you get $1,000 in bets, $100 minimum on every fight, and then highest payout at the end of the night cumulatively wins. So, first one, here we go. We got Roman Dolidze versus Marvin Vettori. Taylor, break it down for us.
Marvin Vettori, man. I think he's just a great character to have up in the middleweight division. Roman Dolidze, sure. But in any case, when I was looking at this, I was basically saying, like, all right, what are the paths to victory here? And a big thing for me is that, you know, Roman Dolidze is kind of, I mean, he's good all over the place. He's a decent wrestler. He's got a lot of wins by knockout. But that being said, it's hard to knock out Marvin Vettori. It is really hard to knock out Marvin Vettori.
Yeah, just that meatball.
He's got the chin.
He does.
And Marvin Vettori certainly has, you know, can win the fight all 3 ways as well. It's kind of a tough one, honestly. But when it comes down to it, for me, Marvin Vettori's younger. He's had a better career already. Roman Dolidze is kind of, yeah, he's 12-1. He's kind of coming up, but he's already 34. You know, I mean, that's not young in the middleweight division. You know, that's like, it's now or never for him.
Oh, correct.
And, meanwhile, Marvin Vettori is 29, man. That dude has been fighting killers for so long.
29 with 25 fights under his belt. That's nothing to shake a stick at.
Yeah, he fought Israel Adesanya in 2018. I guess he would have been, what, it's 2023?
24.
He would have been like 24 at that point. 24, 25. Yeah. I mean, listen, I know that he's pretty basic, right? He's just going to go in there. He's going to throw punches. I think he's going to make his way probably to a decision victory, if I had to guess.
That sounds reasonable.
And he's just gonna have a harder chin, and he's just gonna throw jabs and maybe a 2 here and there, stuff a bunch of takedowns, and just wear a tired, defeated Roman Dolidze down, who thought he was gonna go in there and get something done, but just can't understand why he keeps hitting this guy and keeps throwing takedowns on him, and Marvin Vettori just keeps coming at him. So that's the way I see the fight.
I saw something similar as you, looking to the storyline for the fight, which is that Dolidze he is the guy that's 12-1. So less fights in the UFC, got the win streak going. Kind of. Am I right on that? He's got a win streak?
Yeah, he's 12-1. He's on a long win streak.
Okay, yeah. Got it. So he's supposed to be, that record and that story kind of tells you that's the young gun, but then when you look at the paper, it's like, no, he's 5 years older and somehow less experienced than the young guy. Which, I mean, I don't know. MMA, the more you do it, the worse you could get if you're like Tony Ferguson, unfortunately. But not everybody is having life-changing fights like that. So for me, I think we arrived on a similar thing here. Going to the bets, we each took Vettori for $100. Not much to be said there. I think a decision win is very reasonable. That's honestly the most valid, what I think is going to be the easiest method for victory for him. I don't really see him getting a submission. Could, but it's not super likely. And then maybe not a knockout. 3-round fight. So it should be a good fun fight to open up the night.
I don't love Marvin Vettori at 265.
Heavy favorite.
I think it's gonna. Yeah, that's a real heavy favorite. I think it's gonna be a close fight. I don't think it's not gonna be competitive. I think it's gonna be really close. But even though I think it's gonna be really close, I also feel like there's a high chance of a close Marvin Vettori win, such that 265 isn't the worst odds to take. That's why I just took it, only put $100 on this, and said I'm moving on.
Same here. All right. Next up, we got Kaci O'Neill and Jennifer Maia. Kaci O'Neill is the young UFC prospect, 9-0 currently, 25 years of age, and Jennifer Maia, 29-1 for the career record at the age of 34. Taylor, what do you think about these guys?
That's definitely a fight that you can put on a main card.
This is a fight, yes. How about that? I'll take it from here. So, Kaci O'Neill, he's got some knockouts, got some submissions, and then about half the time it's decisions. We look at the other side of the page here. We got Jennifer Maia. She's had losses to some big names. She's also had some not super great losses as well. For me, she kind of feels like all over the place, and then it's honestly not super high power. I don't really, like, her record shows it. It's a lot of decisions. It's not a lot of submissions and knockouts. And then we look back at Kaci, it's the young talent. It's a little more energetic, and I just think there's more going on there. So if you ask me, I think Kaci O'Neill is going to continue and get that 10th win in a row and just keep looking better and better.
Jennifer Maia, I don't think she's anything special, but she's been fighting at the top of the division for quite a while.
Oh, veteran for sure.
Now, her losses are to Manon Farrow, Kaitlyn Chookagian, Valentina Shevchenko. Yeah, her best wins aren't that great. I mean, Jessica I guess. Joanne Calderwood.
This guy's a tough opponent.
Nothing particularly impressive, but I think she's just been fighting at a higher level. And she beat Roxanne Modafferi, which is going to play her in a second, a couple times. First by split decision, and then later by unanimous decision. But since then, that was 3 years ago that she won a unanimous decision. She's definitely matured as a fighter. She has a habit of, well, she only did it twice in 2019, and not since then. But she had a habit of missing weight back then. Maybe she's coming a little bit heavier. And my thought about Kaci O'Neill is that I'd rather have the person who went to a split decision with a, 34-year-old Roxanne Modafferi when Jennifer Maia was like 28, than somebody who went to a split decision with a 40-year-old Roxanne Modafferi in her last fight. I'm sorry. I don't care what else is on your record. Roxanne Modafferi is 40, and
that's a
she's
tough
a fun
number
character. Sure, that is a old age for what are we looking at here for the women's flyweight division. I mean, come on.
Is that picking fights in the nursing home?
That's picking fights in the nursing home, which we're going to get to a little bit later. We're definitely going to get to that a little bit later. But I can't do it. I think Maia should be the favorite. And at plus 145, I think that's a steal.
All right, that's fair. I took Kaci O'Neill for $100 at minus 170. I think 170, it's a pretty good favorite there. It's not like overwhelming, but at the same time, there's some decent money to be made there.
This might be my favorite bet of the night. This might be the one that I like the most out of my bets that I was happiest to make.
All right, well, you put 290 on it, so we'll see.
And I'm getting all that money back. Don't worry about it.
All right, third fight on the card. We got Gunnar Nelson and Brian Barberena. Gunnar Nelson,
you
go for it.
You want to talk like fire in a nursing home? That's Brian Barberena. Okay, listen. The guy is 18-9, and it's not like he's ever been. It's not like he's ever been on a fantastic win streak since he got into the UFC. Basically, I think his last fight before he lost to Rafael dos Anjos before this in December, and before that he was on a 3-fight win streak, which is his best wins ever. But his best win is like, I mean, maybe you could say I believe 40-year-old Robbie Lawler at the time.
That's a good win.
I think
it's still
Matt
Robbie
Brown.
Lawler.
It's sure he beat Matt Brown, who I think is 41, 42 when he beat him last year. And then in the end of 2021, he beat Darian Weeks, who might be like one of his best wins, but is a guy who I think entered the UFC, went 0-3, and then got let go. Like
your points, yes.
Knocked out by Randy Brown, knocked out by Vicente Luque. Actually did pretty good against Leon Edwards. I mean, that was a while ago. That was a very young Leon Edwards. I think he's 31 now. It was 2017, so he's maybe like 25-year-old Leon Edwards.
I want to say both of these guys have actually lost to Leon at some point.
I think Gunnar might have. He was yeah, he did back in 2019. He was a competitor. You know, I mean, he was a contender for a while. I think he was ranked number 7. I don't know if he was ranked right now, but I don't think it's number 7. I know he took some time off. Yeah, I have a hard time putting a lot of stock in in Brian Barberena when he's just been clearing out nursing homes, and that's all he's had going for him. On the other hand, Gunnar Nelson came back, got a decision win, unanimous over Takashi Sato. He had a 3-year layoff before that, where he had 2 losses to Gilbert Burns and Leon Edwards, especially in 2019. I mean, a split decision with Leon Edwards, you know, those are not at all bad losses for the top of the division. And then he got a win over Alex Oliveira, lost to Santiago Ponzinibbio, and whatever.
So the thing for me with this fight is that I don't know if I entirely agree with the odds just by how weighted they are. So if we look at them, we got Barberena is a 290 underdog, and then right now it's currently sitting at Gunnar Nelson at -360. That honestly was the part of the thing that was drawing the bets for me.
Yeah, I mean, basically the way that I looked at it though was Brian Barberena has 11 wins by knockout, 2 subs, I think early on before the UFC, and then he's gotten a couple decisions, but you know, whatever. Gunnar Nelson, 12 wins by submission. I don't think he's got any knockouts since getting to the UFC, although he does have a few on his record. Both of these guys usually don't go to decision. I mean, as I said, Barberena has recently, but in any case, I think that so I went back and I was watching Gunnar Nelson versus Santiago Ponzinibbio, because I kind of felt like I was watching him versus Takashi Sato, and they both have these gay little karate stances, and they're hopping in and out, and they're kind of popping each other in the face, and it's just like, yeah, whatever. And I was like, I want to see when he got knocked out by Santiago Ponzinibbio in 1 minute and 22 seconds, and that was just Santiago Ponzinibbio was just willing to get in there and just give it to him. And say what you will about Brian Barberena, he may be a fire in a nursing home, but at least he's a fire, you know? Like, he's going to go in there, and I think he's going to try and scrap. I don't think he wants to play the in-out karate game with Gunnar Nelson. I think he's going to want to go in there and just try and beat his brakes off. And that might work out for him. It might not. But one way or the other, whether Gunnar Nelson hurts Brian Barberena or takes him down, I think that if he's going to finish the fight, and I think that if he wins, he gets a finish, he's going to do it by using a submission to get the finish. Brian Barberena, on the other hand, if he is to win, I think that he's going to do it by just charging in there, overwhelming Gunnar Nelson's gay little karate stance, and just knocking him out like Santiago Ponzinibbio did. And that's why with my money, I did the old split on
bet?
it. Yep, so that either it's going to be Barberena by KO or it's going to be Nelson by sub. Functionally speaking, I mean, I split it two ways, but that's like put down $410 to get. I think my payout is like $660 if I win or something like that. So that's like it's like a plus 150 to say that more than 50% chance that Barberena gets a KO or Nelson gets a sub. I'll take that. I think that's the most likely way the fight's going to go. In both
Fair
cases,
enough.
I think I've got an 80% chance of getting one of those.
I entirely agree. I mean, if you look at the records on them, not a lot of decisions either way for both of the fighters. And then I just went for Barberena for $100 at plus 290. I think that's just way too far out there. I think he's very much in this fight. And again, like you said earlier, I think him getting a KO victory is absolutely possible.
I could see him running out there first minute of the fight, just not having any of Gunnar Nelson's shit, and just Gunnar Nelson gets overwhelmed and gets knocked out. I could 100% see that happen.
Fair enough. All right, on to the co-main. We got Rafael Fiziev and Justin Gaethje. So Rafael Fiziev coming in at 12-1 and Gaethje at 23-4. Been in this game for a while. He's the 34-year-old in this one. Obviously, these are two very exciting fighters, and I think this could very well carry the card. Like, this is my pick for the most exciting fight of the night right here.
God, Fiziev just fits so well into the Oliveira, Poirier, Gaethje, Chandler dynamic at the top of the division. There's just full of these fun fights to go around.
I like it a lot.
Whether he wins or loses, I'm really excited to see him go up against some of these other top guys. I think it's going to be really fun fights. He's so explosive. He's just a little meatball, but instead of that like Michael Chandler sort of level of explosive, you know, where it's just a very brawling style a lot of the times, he's got a really crisp like Muay Thai style. He throws
good kickboxer,
hard, fast body kicks. He's got great hooks. Really gets in there fast, and it's just very impressive to watch. I do think that while I absolutely love Justin Gaethje, and I could totally see Justin Gaethje winning by calf kicks and overhand rights, and ending combinations with left hooks, and that's it. Again, and I will laugh all the way to the bank if that's to happen. I do think it's more likely that Rafael Fiziev is going to break Justin Gaethje down with body kicks. I think Justin Gaethje leaves himself open to that. I think Rafael Fiziev is just really fast and really dangerous. And while I love Justin Gaethje, I think that against a really technical striker like Rafael Fiziev, who's just so explosive, and I think it's going to be a tough fight for him. I think it's going to be a real tough fight. And I think that more likely than not, maybe like 60-40 on this one, or 55-45. I think Rafael Fiziev gets the finish. But if not, I think that Justin Gaethje eventually just gets there with his patented calf kick, overhand right. That's all I need strategy, and gets it done. You know, so we'll see. One of them, I predict maybe second, maybe third round finish, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned this earlier, but this is going to be a 3-round fight. So for me, I like Justin in the 3-round fights. I really do. I think that's he's got a lot of power, and I think a 3-round fight is a good distance for him to be able to showcase a lot of that and not have to worry about gassing out too hard in the last stuff. Of course, seeing him go 5 rounds for he looks great in championship rounds when we've seen him there. He doesn't always get there necessarily, but again, going back to the Tony Ferguson fight, that's just a showcase of he just looks so good, just is consistent. I think that's been who he is becoming, and especially maturing into as a fighter, is he's gaining that he's gaining that edge and just that kind of like that wisdom of just like taking it a little bit easier and just looking solid throughout the entirety of the fight. But at the same time, it would also be great to watch him get back to form and just kind of be that monster and that savage that we saw him start his career as. For me, one of the big questions I see is Justin Gaethje's known for having great leg kicks, being able to take away that as a platform of offense, and then also as just being a decent offense on its own. And I think Fiziev is going to be a good challenge with his Muay Thai background of being able to fight against leg kicks, being able to check him. And I think it's definitely possible that he might be able to get Gaethje's respect early and kind of stave off those leg attacks if he, throws a shin bone into a few of them. So with
Absolutely.
that said,
man, I hate you so much. I hate this strategy. Listen, my pick to win this is Rafael Fiziev.
I'll
tell
love
you right
this
now.
strategy.
My pick to win is Rafael Fiziev. I just think that like minus 240 or whatever he's at is too much. I'd rather take the plus 190 for Justin Gaethje because I think that's doing a little bit of disrespect to Justin Gaethje, who's only lost to champions. I had to put money on this.
I think plus 195 is disrespect to Gaethje. You kidding me? He's only lost to champions and like Dustin Poirier back in the day, who effectively is a champion himself. Like, come on.
Rafael Fiziev I picked for a reason. I think stylistically it's a good matchup for Rafael Fiziev. I very seriously was just like, what if I just put $100 on money line submission only, just to protect my money? But I felt that was sort of a cop out.
That is a cop out. That's a non-bet for this fight.
It's not in the spirit of the rules, I guess. So I put 100 on Gaethje at 190. I'm not in love with it. I don't think I'm gonna get my money back, but I think that's the best use of the money from a statistical standpoint. You, on the other hand, are an absolute madman.
Are you kidding me?
You're probably
going to
lose all your money. You're probably going to lose all your money.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to win this entire card.
There are better picks to put your money on than this.
Nope. Disagree. Gaethje is the best pick on this card, especially at plus 195.
None of the picks that you've made.
He is the best.
There are better picks.
He is the best. Kidding me? The guy's a savage. He's been in there with the best of the best. Like, the best decision the UFC has made in a long time was they made the Gaethje Chandler fight, the free fight for the preview on YouTube. I have rewatched that thing 3 times this week alone. Like, that was so much fun. And he's just an animal. He's a dog. Like,
all right. Here's the real bet. Fight of the night.
This one. You kidding me? This one.
Fight of the night. Yeah. If I could bet on fight of the night, I'd bet on this one. Sure.
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, unless Brian Barberena just like tucks his chin down and walks across the cage and just one punch starches Nelson.
That's not gonna be a fight of the night. Let's move on before I just can't stand looking at this bet.
Right here. These are good numbers. I like these numbers. All right, take it away.
Rocky. He used to be called like the American Dream.
Leon?
Now he's in the Nigerian Nightmare. Yeah.
Kamaru.
Marty from Marty. Yeah, Marty from Nebraska.
Marty from Nebraska.
He was just saying some stuff about who's the real African in the UFC to Dricus du Plessis recently, and not a good look for him, let's say that. But as far as the fight goes, really comparable records on these guys, first of all.
I know, right?
I basically had very similar situations. I mean, losses early on, and then a loss to each other, basically. Really
what it is.
I think the elephant in the room here is that obviously then Edwards got a way to get it done in their last fight, but Kamaru was winning on the scorecards. Absolutely, I'd say that if it had to go to it, Leon wins 2 of those 3 rounds, so it's not like this was an absolute shutout. Now admittedly he wins his second round, being the 5th, because he knocked Kamaru the fuck out. But he did, and I think that the odds towards Leon are a little bit disrespectful in that sense. I understand that Kamaru was controlling the majority of the time, but Leon Edwards showed he was really capable. He was able to deal with the wrestling. He was able to deal with the striking. Maybe he got a little bit smothered in the clinch work, up against the cage. Maybe he had some things to fix up on, but he's been there. He can figure that out, and he can move on from it. He's the younger fighter. He's the fresher fighter. He's on his way up. Eventually, the dome had to crack, and it did for Marty Usman on that night. I think that even if you still take Kamaru Usman as the favorite, I think it's a narrow favorite. And I think the odds are disrespecting how close that first fight was, even though Kamaru was clearly winning on the scorecards. Just because you're clearly winning doesn't mean it's not competitive. And I think Leon's going to learn from his mistakes. He's going to be down at sea level. It was fantastic that he was able to perform so well through all 5 rounds at elevation when he doesn't train at elevation and Kamaru does at team elevation. I think that was a big advantage going in. I think Leon Edwards in his hometown, and he had all the disadvantages last time. He's got all the advantages this time, and I think it's gonna be a really close fight. For me, it's a pick'em, but with the odds being disrespectful the way they are, I'm taking the underdog.
Singular listener, because we only have one, their information. Usman is minus 245 favorite. Leon is plus 205 right now. So
still, that's great.
I agree and I disagree with your assessment of the situation. So I want to go back to that night. So up until that night, Kamaru Usman, everyone's talking about he just needs one more win and he'll have tied, I think was it GSP for the record for the longest win streak. And like one of the most dominant champions in UFC history.
Division, yeah.
Just phenomenal win streak. Has just looked so good for so long. Is one of those guys that kind of like cleared out the division and was starting to go back and lap it. And that kind of felt what the Leon fight was. Leon, I think he's part slept on and part underwhelming, and I think he has been for a long time. He's a very solid like 7 or 8 out of 10 on like every night, and he's just been like quietly building up a win streak up until that point. Like I want to say it was like a 9 or 10 fight win streak at that point. Like one of the reasons I say this is we go back and we look at the Nate Diaz fight, and I think that was one of those moments where it was like, yeah, for as being as good as you are, you probably should have finished Diaz. But then at the same time, you almost got finished by Diaz. And it's like, it's that kind of stuff that makes you question whether or not you really belong in the title shot picture. And then going into that fight, I kind of felt like, yeah, he's just like one of the last few guys for Kamaru just to kind of put his stamp on again, just for good measure. And then going to the actual fight now, first round, rewatching it. Yeah, he gets taken down by Kamaru, stands up, and then he actually ends up taking down Kamaru with a pretty good trip. Although, to be honest, it definitely seems like Kamaru was just not ready for someone to even try that. And I know everyone claims that it was Kamaru's the first time he's ever been taken down, but I still stand by the fact that Colby Covington was the first man to take him down. And
fair enough.
I'll tell you this, DC would even agree with me. Called it himself. Called the 2-point takedown himself. Kamaru had a good first round in that fight. Leon did get that top position full amount. Didn't really do a ton with it. Went for some submission attempts. Really tried to crank like a rear naked choke from behind, but every time Kamaru just kept that chin down, kept his chin right on the arm, didn't let him sink it in there. And then they finished off the end of the round with just like 15 seconds left. They kind of just like looked at each other and tried punching each other awkwardly at terrible angles. And then the rest of the fight, Kamaru just proceeds to just piece him apart until that magical 5th round. And the commentary team is just writing his obituary, man. They're just talking about Kamaru's the best. Kamaru's done this, like he's tied GSP. And then literally less than a minute left, he just give him that fake left jab with the kick right to the neck, head area. Like, it was just so perfect. Watching that replay, watching the slow-mo that they had for it too is just incredible. I think Leon is the technical fighter. I think Kamaru's very good. And I think the reason that you have everything the way it is that it's very easy to believe that Leon only has the belt right now because of a fluke and because he kind of got a little bit lucky. And I think it's reasonable to understand that. And I don't know. I agree with everything you said, though, about being in home territory, fighting for the belt in front of your home crowd, with the confidence knowing that you've done it before. You can do it again. You can take him down again theoretically if you want. So, yeah, I see Leon being the and still very possibly.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think a lot of people maybe want to see this as, GSP and Matt Serra. I think that Kamaru is, while a great fighter and certainly probably the second or third best welterweight champion of all time, he's a long way from GSP. And I think this is going to be, for me, I think it's going to be closer to Chris Weidman versus Anderson Silva. I think that Father Time comes for us all. It's been coming for Marty for a long time now. And I think that he might be really confident in himself, but so is Leon. I think it's Leon's time now.
You're taking the anti-Trevor Whitman parlay this week, huh?
I am. Well, no.
Think he's going to be a happy man? Think he's going to be smiling watching his fighters get beat?
I put my money on Gaethje. I just don't think he's going to win.
All right. Fair. Yeah, $100 on Leon at 205. Yep, that seems a bit high on the odds for me, but I will be happy to take it. And I think there's a very real shot he can do it too. And then again, I don't have any more money to put on this fight because Gaethje took all of my money, rightfully so.
That's God, man. Listen, if you win, that's great, but you could have just taken the guaranteed money on Jennifer Maia. That's all I'm saying.
No.
That's all I'm saying.
Get out of here. I'm very happy with these picks. All right, let's take it to the wrap up. We got possible payouts. Casey, $2,761. Taylor, $2,103.
God, you're just making your money back and then taking all that Gaethje money. That's all your entire thing is.
What are you talking about? I think I have 3 underdogs because I have Barberena, Gaethje, and Leon. Those are not all like terrible underdogs either. I mean, the worst, the quote unquote best odds I got is Marvin Vettori at, what was that, minus 245 or something. But I mean, come on. It's Marvin Vettori. It's
well, we'll see. I've succeeded in my conservative approach this time, and I think it's going to pay off for me. I think I've matured as a sports bettor. I think that I've memed the shit out of the women's fight, which is the most important skill. I've decided that I don't care about anything else. Going to a split decision with 40-year-old Roxanne Modafferi does not bode well. And I think that's the smartest thing that I did tonight. And you're going to see it when we recap this. And I've got my Jennifer Maia money on a fight that I'm not going to even watch.
Look, I'm looking forward to the recap episode when we can come back and then we can finally say, and new welterweight champion Colby Chaos Covington. That's what's really going to happen here. That's what's going on. You thought Tony Ferguson tripping over a cord was a Black Swan event? You ain't seen nothing yet. All right, tinfoil hat time. Let's say Colby does find his way into the show. Who trips on the cord? Is it Leon?
Who trips on the cord? Usman blows out his knee walking into the cage. Colby
stands up from the front row, rips off a suit to reveal he's already geared.
That's exactly what it's gonna be. He walks right over. He pulls the American flag out of a pocket. It's flying. He walks into that cage and he says, "It's the Revolution 2.0, baby." And then he lays it on the Brits in their hometown.
Oh, I want to see that so bad. I want to see him do the 2.0 version speech for Colby, which is, instead of being in Brazil, being London. This place is a dump. All of your filthy animals, go see a dentist. Filthy animals suck. Oh, God. And just fucking beat his chest, shouting USA, and just to a crowd of just angry Brits just booing and flipping him off. Oh.
What a time that would be.
That'd be amazing. That'd be absolutely amazing.
Fortunately, he's just probably going to walk away with a couple $100,000 in show money, which, good for him. Doesn't even need to fight. Shows up, cuts weight. Yeah. Doesn't cut a lot of weight. You know, he didn't. He
He still weighed 170.
He stripped down to his skivvies to get into it too. You know, so I feel like he was like, I'm not doing any more work than I have to. I'll take the underwear off for this one. You know,
I can see that.
Probably spent like 2 days cutting. Took his $200,000, move on with his life. You know,
hard to
good
argue
for him one way or
that.
the other.
I will say this was an absolutely brilliant move for him, though. Not just on there's a chance he could become the world champion out of this, but also is that him showing up unannounced at the weigh-ins as an official fighter had everybody talking, and I love it. I love every second of it. Like, it interrupted the main press conference when they had to ask Usman and Edwards, like, did you guys see that Colby weighed in? They're like, this is the first I'm hearing about it.
Nice.
Like, oh yes, bad guy 2.0 is here and he wants that belt.
Hopefully we'll see him back in the ring soon, whether it's against Hamzat or the winner of this or Shotshot or whatever.
The thing that I think is brilliant is that because he's showed up to this and because he's the backup fighter, even the press is asking Dana, they're like, yeah, so Colby's next, right? So Colby 3. And he's like, look, I'm not saying anything by it, but he's just here. And everyone's like, yep, okay, Colby's next. And I like it.
Maybe. See, I'm excited.
All right. Any final words before we get out of here? Or are we spend enough time with the tinfoil hats on?
If you have a gambling problem because you put all your money on Justin Gaethje on a fight that he's probably not going to win, please call the suicide hotline and ask them for help achieving your suicide. As I understand, that's what they're there for. They're there to help you, to make it easier for you.
Me? No. Come on. It's Justin Gaethje. Come on. All right, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you very much for joining us. We will see you after UFC 286 for the recap and the crowning of our new King Colby Chaos Covington. With that said, I'm Casey. As always, join me is.
I'm Taylor. Can't wait. See y'all later.